Let's start in the beginning. Tell me about kind of the origination of this group and why it was so important to start with the under 12s and kind of create what is going to become this funnel system to the first team at Real Salt Lake.
When Garth was general manager here, we were talking about how we can better our system of getting Utah kids to RSL Arizona, right? And so Martine and Freddie would come up and they'd have this 100 kids coming out, and to try to evaluate 100 kids in 2 days is really, really difficult. So we went to Tony Laporte at US Soccer and said, look, we'd like to start a U14 team in the Academy League in Utah. And he said, look, I'd really like you to start a funnel system and get something started before I can just put you into that league. Let's get some results first, right? So I was actually helping out with a local team with my son's age group. And I said, maybe we could do this under the Real Salt Lake banner. So I went to Deloitte and I said, here's the concept. We eventually want to have a U14 team that plays in the Academy League. That would be a funnel for RSL Arizona for Utah kids. What do you think? And he says, what do you need? Love the idea.
Wow.
And so he basically gave us a budget, and I told him, I said, I want to travel throughout the country, play the best competition for these kids, make them mini pros, and let them follow their dreams. And he was great. I mean, when we played in the Surf Cup, he actually had the whole team out of his house in San Diego and having a lot of fun with it. But this is really how it came together. It came together quick. We had 120 kids try out, and we did it over 7 days though, so we really had a chance. And I think we got most of the best kids in Utah. There's still some kids in Utah who are very good, who aren't on this team right now. And our goal is to have the best kids in Utah and to represent the state, and then eventually feed kids into the RSL system down in Arizona, and then eventually into Monarchs and into the first team.
From a player who's won championships in this league, you've coached in the college level at Michigan and University of Washington, assistant in the league, and now technical director. How important are these opportunities now to develop kids, set philosophies, set cultures, and give them kind of a true path to the opportunity, which is the first team?
Well, it's enormous from a club perspective. We start developing these kids young, we get them these amazing experiences, the exposure and the competition and all these different tournaments they're playing in, as you pointed out. It's just amazing the level of game that these kids get to compete in on a consistent basis. Truthfully, at the end of the day, you can practice as much as you want, but it's the competition you play against. Can you outsmart them? Are you technically better? Fatigue, decision making, all these things come in. How are you coached? And those are the pieces that we're now able to start developing so much younger. And by the time they reach 16, 17, 18, we're starting to sign these kids, and they're making great decisions.
From a philosophy standpoint, how important is it to kind of capture the imagination of these young players who are extremely talented in their age group, while also recognizing there's a way to go about it, there's an RSL way?
It's just an amazing opportunity for these young men to gain experiences that you and I never had. With Bill coaching the team, he knows the environment that's here with the first team and with the Monarchs and with the Academy, so he knows what they're going to have ahead of them. And with his tutelage, these kids learn things that many kids don't.
Casa Grande, I think from the outsider's perspective, it's kind of utopia. Here's this ultimate goal for younger players, and once you succeed there, you're coming right through Real Salt Lake, or you're getting a great opportunity for a full ride, go to college. A lot of unbelievable chances. How do you put together all of the pieces of the puzzle to create this, knowing that that becomes the identifier pool for Casa Grande, which becomes Fido Valles, Bofo Salcedo, but also you're taking the pay-to-play aspect out of the system.
Completely out.
And why is that important for you guys?
The one thing, and I had said this to Deloitte, take economics out of the equation, and I really believed in this. It's very expensive actually to have high-level soccer. These kids are trying to travel and they're planning to do it. And what I've always felt is Real Salt Lake, we have to take economics out of the picture if we want to attract the best players. So immediately there were going to be no fees to the parents. We were going to cover all travel, we would cover all ref fees, everything. Uniforms, and being Adidas sponsors our team, so we get everything, that's RSL. The minute you put a dollar sign on something, families have to make a choice, right? And we don't want families to make a choice. We want the best kids in Utah to play on this team.
How much fun has it been to travel the country and be with your friends, but at the same time play some really good soccer teams?
Pretty awesome. Getting to travel with all my friends and then playing against these top-level teams in the country and then competing with them and being able to know you have teammates that you can rely on, and you're playing against these great teams, and it's just really cool.
It's not just the games, it's cool being around with your teammates for a few days, but it's also pretty fun to win the close games.
What's your favorite part? Like when you get to hit the road and hit the
Probably
airport?
being on the airplane with the team.
Yeah. You guys joke around and have a good time?
Yeah.
Tell me about Casa Grande. What was it like going down there and seeing where the guys live, see where they eat, see where they train? I saw the locker room video of you guys headers back and forth into the trash can. Did you guys feel like pro players? Did it feel like you guys had made it?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It felt like that, yeah.
I got to feel like what it would be like if I was part of that academy.
It was pretty awesome. It was probably the best trip I've ever been on. It was like you're managing your own time and yourself, and we have our own locker room there, and it's awesome to think like how successful they are and that you're like right by them and standing with them and stuff. And then next off, to think that like that could be me in the future if I just work as hard as I can.
What was it like going to MLS headquarters?
Oh, that was awesome. It's one I'll never forget.
The experience mainly, like to go to New York, like, and see all that cool stuff, especially with the team. That was a lot of fun.
We brought them to the MLS offices, and MLS was great. I mean, they treated these kids like kings. I mean, they had scarves and they had everything, and they showed them the dream. They actually put together a video just for these kids to show them which young players have come up, and Jimmy Conrad talked to them about playing in a World Cup and playing in MLS, and so these kids get to experience things that a lot of other Utah kids don't get to experience, and it's very gratifying, you know, and to see that as a dad, it's really special, and I've committed myself to doing this for this year and another 2 seasons. Luckily, Real Salt Lake is in a place that I can help build it, and then we can have a coach and someone else run with this and be the feeder program for Martin Vasquez.
Big picture, what's the future of this group, and what's the next step for these young kids?
We'll play one more year now, U13. We'll have a tryout at the end of May, and then I'm going to bring in maybe the top 4, 6, 8 players that we find in this tryouts into the first team for a couple of weeks, and then kind of come up with, you know, are these players better than what I have? Then off to the races. USA Cup in Minnesota in July, Surf Cup in August. We're going back east again. We're going to go to Jersey for Columbus Day tournament. We have our Desert Premier League action. And so, you know, a lot of games coming up. And then in September of 2016, if you actually fast forward, it's entry into the U.S. Development Academy League. And that is, you know, that's the next level.
It's been fun for me to be up in the TV booth and putting together the broadcast and looking down and seeing these guys on the field and seeing the access that they have to not just Rio Tinto Stadium, but to the first team, to the players, to get to see Fido Avalle and get to see Bofo Salcedo. Yeah, and I can't imagine any better motivation for a young player to have this type of access, this type of opportunity, everything taken care of, and then with the ultimate carrot at the end of the stick is playing for the Real Salt Lake.